Hey guys, today we're going to look at a very special kind of headphone. And this is the RAAL Requisite SR-1A. It's made by a company called RAAL or RAAL, RAAL, not exactly sure the best pronunciation, but yeah, they're made in Serbia, and they have a special kind of headphone called a ribbon headphone. So these are called true ribbon headphones, and they patented the technology called ear field monitor because supposedly they give you the experience similar to speakers rather than conventional headphones. So a little bit about ribbon headphones. These are really kind of rare, and I don't really know any other company that makes them except for RAAL. They might be the only one. I don't know. So most headphones out there are using dynamic drivers. These are just like standard voice coils. These are really the same kind of drivers that you see in speakers, actually, but just they're placed inside a much smaller kind of enclosure, right? Which is, you know, the headphone ear cup. So most headphones are dynamic driver headphones. And there are headphones that are planar magnetic as well, which is you have like a thin diaphragm that have kind of etched traces inside of it, and then you have two magnets that kind of suspend the thin diaphragm, and then that's how it creates the sound, is by having the magnets and everything kind of charge the thin diaphragm. Then you have electrostatic headphones, and electrostatic headphones kind of like are planar magnetics, except they use electrostatic technology instead of the magnetic technology. So it's kind of, you also have that thin diaphragm, except use like electrostatic charges instead. I mean, you need a special energizer for electrostatic headphones, whereas for planar magnetics you don't. You just can drive them normally with, you know, headphone amps and stuff. But yeah, electrostatics usually require their own energizer because they need very high voltages to drive. Now this one, the ribbon headphone, is well, just looking at the technology, it's usually a strip of aluminum that's sometimes folded into like an accordion-like structure that hangs between rows of permanent magnets. And then it sits, the ribbon sits between the magnetic gap between the magnets. And then you'll have the magnets turned positive on one side and negative through the other. So the signals pass through the ribbon, and it's, yeah, suspended between rows of different magnets and stuff. So it's just a different technology. I think they're usually quite hard to make, and it's more complex to make them, I would say. That's why I've only ever seen this company, RAAL Requisite, make them. And they only started making them like a couple years back. I think this one came out in 2019, but they haven't been making these for a while. Like these, I think, are probably within the last 10 years. So yeah, these are relatively new on the market, a new type of headphone, really. And also interesting about these ones is they're supposedly, just reading from, like, you know, the explanations online and stuff, they're supposed to produce a very realistic, natural type of soundstage. And because of that, they also do not have ear cups on the headphones. So that's kind of unique to these. Also another variation is a different kind of headphone is the AMT, or air motion transformer. So you've seen these on some high-end speakers, but they're kind of an in-between the planar and the ribbon. So it has a planar-like diaphragm folded like an accordion, hung between magnets just like the ribbon. And so far, I think the only headphone that uses that I've tried is the headphone, the HE1000 phone, or the head audio headphone. So yeah, that's like the only one I've seen that uses that technology. So yeah, I've listened to many different types of headphones now: planar magnetic, electrostatic, obviously dynamic driver headphones. I've owned all three of those types. And then I've even listened to AMT headphones before, the air motion transformer headphone, the head audio headphone too. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to look at a ribbon headphone, because they're just not common. This might be the only company making them. So I'm very excited about this. And this retails brand new for $3,500 US, which is a lot of money, but I mean, they don't really have any other competitor, I don't think, because they're making these really unique headphones. And this is not even their flagship. Their flagship is the Amanis, I think, which costs like over $10,000. I think that's like a $11,000 or $12,000 headphone, which is crazy. But this one retailed for $3,500. And yes, you do need a special amp to drive it. So just like electrostatics, you can't just use your normal headphone amp to drive these. I got these bundled with a special version of the Shit Audio Jotunheim headphone amplifier. So normally these are like, these are meant for normal headphones, but the specially modified version is called the Jotunheim R. And this one's co-branded with Audize, I think. But yeah, these are special. This is a special modification that's used for running this headphone here. And this adds an extra $700 onto the price normally. So in total, you can get this bundle for $4,200. I actually picked mine up at a discount because I got this used on HeadFi, and I got it for $1,900 total for these two, which is, I think, a pretty decent deal considering how special and unique these headphones are. So yeah, I got pretty excited about it. So yeah, we can take a look. Comes in this really big case here. This one is like, you know, military duty type case. It's pretty heavy duty here. But yeah, let's take a look at the headphones. I'm pretty excited about this. Look at that. Even this comes with this little locking mechanism here on the case. Really heavy duty. Okay, let's take a look. All right. The RAAL SR-1A. That's a really unique looking headphone. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I'll show you guys what it looks like. It is really, really kind of bizarre looking, actually. This thing doesn't look like it's even meant to be worn on the head, because the first thing that you basically see about the headphone is that it just doesn't look like any other headphone. It doesn't even have ear cups, so it definitely does not look very comfortable. It has these metal grills on the side here. So it looks like kind of like cheese graters. Yeah, metal grills on the side. It says RAAL requisite here. And then the SR-1A True Ribbon Ear Feel Monitor. That's kind of their patented type of a term for this headphone, I guess. They call them ear feel monitors, not headphones. You have kind of a lightweight kind of leather headband here. And then just a thin metal band up here. Kind of reminds me of some hi-fi mans. And just a thin cushion on the side here. Not much to protect your, I guess this is to rest against your cheeks when you wear them, or the side of your ears, but not too much comfort here, I would say. I guess your ears just rest directly on the metal here. Huh. But yeah, very, very unique design. Doesn't really look like any other headphone. And I guess you can kind of turn them like this. So yeah, your ears, I guess, just rest kind of lightly. It's supposed to press kind of lightly, or just rest just, you know, right outside of this grill here. So I'm going to check it out, of course, and see how well I can wear these and see how comfortable it actually is. But from the first appearance of this, it doesn't seem like it's too comfortable to wear. There's no ear cups or anything as part of the design. No ear cups. I mean, it's just meant to create a more airy, natural soundstage. Because this thing is more meant to be like speakers, really. So it's just kind of like having ribbon speakers up against your ear. It's very interesting. I think that's that thin strip here. I think that's that ribbon right there. And yeah, overall, just a very, very cool, interesting design. Yeah, I guess you just rest your ears just kind of lightly, just either like close to this grill here or just lightly touching, or just, yeah, close to it. Anyways, I'll figure that out. And then at the bottom here, the connectors, and we have this carbon fiber type of finish here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and this is the cable here, and I think these look almost just like standard 3.5 connectors, but the actual termination is unique here because it looks like a 4-pin XLR here. Yeah, it looks like a 4-pin XLR connector here. SC2 standard cable ribbon hub. Yeah, I wonder if these are kind of special for this headphone, or if you can just use any 3.5 to 4-pin XLR. But yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna risk changing out the cable here. I'm just gonna use the stock cable. Yeah, maybe there is aftermarket cables, but it won't be too easy to find, I think, because this is a specialized company. RAAL requisite there. Don't know what kind of material this cable is made of, but yeah, it seems like it's two 3.5 into a 4-pin XLR here. But yeah, very, very cool, interesting looking headphones. Doesn't really look like any other headphone on the market. Yeah, just like two metal grills that kind of just sit right outside your ear or on your ear, lightly touching it. You can kind of adjust the head straps like this. It's really industrial looking. Yeah, look at this. Very industrial looking. And I guess you have some pads up here to help support as well. So I don't know. I'll just see how comfortable this really is. At first glance, it does not seem too comfortable to wear, but we'll see. Yeah, anyways, put that there. But yeah, very, very cool headphones. And also in this video, I'm going to compare it against my planar magnetics and my electrostatics as well. So I have the Hifiman HE1000 Unveiled, one of the best planar magnetics on the market, as well as my Hifiman Mini Shangri-Las, which are electrostatics, and I'll have to compare it to both. Okay, now let's take a look at the headphone amplifier here. So this is the Schiit Audio Jotunheim 2, I believe, or a modified version that can accept this headphone. Yeah, so Schiit Audio, I've actually reviewed a few of their products before on my channel. I had the Schiit Valley 2 tube headphone amplifier. So this one is, I think, quite a bit more heavy duty compared to that. So let's go over the controls here. This is the input switch. It switches between the internal DAC or phono, and then the middle is for balanced input, and the bottom is for single-ended input. The second one is for high gain or low gain. And the third one is a preamp switch. Up turns the preamp outputs and down turns them off. This is the volume knob, of course. And then this is the connector for what looks like to be a 4-pin XLR balanced headphone jack. Now, I'm not sure if this can, you know, if any kind of headphone amp with a 4-pin balanced can work with this thing, or it has to be this special one. Not sure. This is the bundle that they included with this, right? So obviously this works, but yeah, I'm not sure if it just, you know, you can use any headphone amp with a 4-pin balanced XLR and it will work with these headphones. I'm not sure, but this one should work. And then we can take a look at the back here. So you can see here, this is a optional input card because you can kind of have different options when you order from Schiit. And then this is the balanced input, so you can have dual XLRs. If you have, yeah, something you want to add to here for input. If you have like a streamer basically, or even a DAC that has balanced out, you can kind of use that. Single-ended in as well with RCA. You have pre-outs here with RCA single-ended, and you got pre-outs here with balanced because this is dual XLR. So yeah, this is the power switch. So this is off, this is on, and this is for the, you know, the power cord. So it's all made in the USA because Schiit is based in California. And yeah, normally I think this would cost around like $400, but this special version adds about $700 to the bundle. So normally, yeah, this whole bundle here costs about $4,200, but of course I got it at a pretty good deal from HeadFi. Okay, so the specs of this thing, so mine does not have a DAC with it. I did not get, you can upgrade the DAC on here when you order from Schiit, like either the multi-bit or the AK4490, I think, but mine does not have a DAC, it's just analog in only. But the power output is 6 watts into 32 ohms. That's quite a bit. So I assume you need a lot of power to drive these headphones. So yeah, this is a really well-built amp, as you would expect from Schiit Audio. Anyways, stay tuned, guys. I'm going to compare it to my Hifiman HE1000 Unveiled and my Hifiman Mini Shangri-Las, and we shall compare planar magnetic versus electrostatic versus ribbon, and see which one comes on top and my impressions of them. So stay tuned. All right, so now I have 3 different types of headphones here. They're all pretty expensive headphones. Yeah, I can't wait to try these all out and compare them. So first we have the RAAL SR-1A, probably the most unique out of all of them. This is a ribbon headphone, cost $3,500. Yeah, really cool and interesting. Can't wait to try these. And then, yeah, you definitely don't see ribbon headphones very often. Then I have the Hifiman Mini Shangri-La. This is the not the most cheapest electrostatic, but probably the second cheapest or second most affordable in Hifiman's lineup. So they make the Jade too. That's their most affordable electrostatics. But for Hifiman, this is their second most affordable electrostatic headphone. And yeah, the Mini Shangri-Las, I think, without the amplifier, probably retails for around $1,100. So actually, it's probably the most affordable out of all these if you exclude the amplifier. But of course, we all know the amplifier and the energizer is pretty important for electrostatics. But yeah, just the headphone itself, around $1,100. And these are really light headphones, so it's pretty comfortable. And then we have the Hifiman HE1000 Unveiled. So these are $2,700 planar magnetic headphones, and I also have an upgraded cable with it too, the Elitech Raphaels. So in total, you could say that these are $300 cables with a $2,700 headphone. This is like $3,000 headphones essentially, and this is one of the best planar magnetics on the market. I talked about in my previous video how I actually like these compared to the Susvara Unveiled, Hifiman's flagship. I think I actually prefer the HE1000 Unveiled because these have more bass, and they have more of a fun sound signature compared to the Susvara Unveils, which have more of a neutral tonality to them. So yeah, I have these three headphones here, which are all top of the line type headphones. Well, you know, there's more expensive electrostatics than the Mini Shangri-La, but I don't have enough money to afford, you know, Stax X9000 or something like that. So we'll just have to make do with the Mini Shangri-La. Anyways, we have three different types of drivers here, three different types of headphones, and yeah, we're gonna compare them, see which one wins out. I don't think anyone else has kind of done a direct comparison like this yet, right? Like top of the line kind of planar magnetic versus electrostatic versus ribbon. It will be pretty interesting. Yeah, unfortunately I do not have a headphone, a head audio headphone. Otherwise we could have four different types of headphones, AMT type headphone as well. But anyways, we have a ribbon headphone here, which is not commonly seen. So anyways, I'm going to be using my Lotu Pod Gold Touch as a source to drive these. Well, I'm going to be inputting them as a source for these two amps, and then I'll be just directly driving the HE1000 Unveiled with them because it doesn't need too much power to drive anyways. These are top of the line digital audio player from 2018. It has an AK4497 DAC chip inside of it, so it's got a pretty high-end DAC, and this is a $3,000 digital audio player from back in the day, so it's still pretty good, I would say. And Lotu is kind of this Chinese company that's well known for making reference neutral sounding players, so this is very highly regarded. I still use it a lot. I got it a couple months ago, I would say last year. So yeah, I've had it for actually almost half a year, and that's because this is a kind of neutral tonality, doesn't color the sound too much, and has a really nice UI, very fast and everything, and responsive. And yeah, just it's a very highly regarded device. So I'll be using this as a source. And yeah, I'll be using, of course, RCA input here. This doesn't even take digital input. So yeah, I have my AudioQuest Evergreen RCA cables here. To 3.5, and I'll be using line out on my Lotus. So I'll be using the same song for each and same source for each, so really I'll just be hearing the difference in headphone and energizer and amp as well. But you know, I need to have I need to have different amps and energizers for this. That's just how it is. But other than that, I try to keep everything, you know, I try to keep everything the same as much as possible, you know, so I can just mostly hear the difference between headphones. Okay, so the first headphone I'm going to try is the HE1000 Unveiled, which, as I said, I probably, in total, this headphone costs about $3,000 US, but I paid about $1,500 for these headphones, and then $300 for that, so it's like $1,500 in total. You need to remove these plates, because these are actually covering the drivers here, and that's just how it's designed. And yeah, this is the HE1000 Unveiled. Very nice high-end planar magnetic headphone. Comfort level is not bad. I mean, it's pretty much the HE1000. If you guys have worn an HE1000 before, the Unveiled is just like that. In terms of build quality, yeah, this is not like the best built headphone, but at least it's better built than, you know, their lower end stuff like the Arias and the Anandas. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to check this out here. Balanced output here, which is 500 milliwatts, but it should be enough to drive these, because the HE1000 Unveiled does not take too much in order to drive. So yeah. Okay. Put this on here. Alright, so yeah, the HE1000 Unveiled, what can I say? In terms of planar magnetic headphones, I think this is my absolute favorite, and still one of my absolute favorite headphones in general. For several things. So one thing is that the technicalities are absolutely endgame on this headphone. Like, the soundstage, the detail and resolution that you get out of this headphone, man, it's pretty close to that of Susvara. The thing is, the Susvara costs like 8,000 bucks, right? This thing costs 2,700 new, right? Actually, Hifiman has it on sale for like 2,300, so which makes it a really good deal. Because honestly, the detail and resolution of this thing is like 80% of that of Susvara for less than half the cost. Let's just say maybe even 1/4 of the cost. And yeah, what can I say? These are pretty amazing planar magnetics. The thing is, I like the tuning as well because it's not like very neutral. It's actually a little bit fun sounding. It's more dynamic sounding. So it's got a bit of a bass boost and a bit of a treble boost, but not too much of it. It reminds me of the Aria Stealth, actually, which is one of my favorite tuned headphones from Hifiman. It's not overly done. It's not like super V-shaped, but at the same time, it's not very neutral either. It's really in that Goldilocks in between, where to me, it has just the right amount of bass push, just the right amount of treble push to give everything a little bit more fun, a little bit more character. Just everything sounds, yeah, just you can feel that has more energy, and everything sounds more dynamic with this tuning. So I like it better than Susvara. I know people who like Susvara are probably into more like classical music, right? And that's for that kind of music, like classical and stuff. Yeah, it's better for neutral tuned headphones. But for me, because I listen to rock and pop and stuff, then these are actually better for me. Yeah, I think these are like, it's not too neutral, at the same time it's not too V-shaped. It's right in the middle where it sounds like it just has a bit of a bass push and a bit of a treble push, where I think it's just enough. It doesn't overdo it. So yeah, still sounds really dynamic and fun without being too much so where it recesses the mids or anything. The thing is, I don't like too V-shaped because it often, the bass gets a little bit overblown and bloated or muddy if you push it up too much, and the mids get too recessed if you push it up too much. But this does it right. You know, the mids don't feel too recessed or anything. Just get a little bit of a bass push, a little bit of treble push to make it everything sound a little bit more fun and energetic, and top tier resolution and imaging and staging. So yeah, amazing headphone. What can I say? One of my favorite headphones, probably my top 5 all time, the HE1000 Unveiled, which yeah, I like better than the flagship Susvara Unveiled. I had the opportunity to try all those in Fujiya, Avich, and Tokyo, right? Yeah, HE1000 Unveiled is absolutely one of my favorite headphones. Yeah, so that's why I have it here. It's an amazing planar magnetic. What can I say? And yeah, with this copper cable, this Elitech Bloom Code cable adds a little bit more bass texture even with that. So next up, let's try the electrostatic, the Hifiman Mini Shangri-La. So my amplifier here is the Wu WA7E. This is by Wu Audio, and it's a nice entry-level electrostatic amp, I would say. I don't have enough budget to be stretching for extremely large, expensive electrostatic amps, but I would say that this one is pretty good, considering, you know, it's very compact, and it's yeah, it's a 2-powered one. You guys can see the 2 tubes here, which gives it a little bit of warmth. And overall sounds pretty decent, I would say. Not the best sounding electrostatic amplifier, but I think for my budget, right, it's pretty good. And this is a budget electrostatic too, you know. Like, this is not a Stax SR-009S. It's not a Warwick Bravura. It's not a Stax X9000 or anything like that. It's not like a top of the line electrostatic, right? I have kind of an entry level electrostatic here, the Mini Shangri-La. So, you know, pairing it with an entry level Energizer amp makes sense to me, and doesn't take up too much space on my desk. So I know upgrading electrostatic amp and Energizer is the way to go if you want to increase sound quality, but for now, you know, the Wu Audio Firefly is pretty good. So I'm going to hook it up to the line out of my low 2 here. And again, I think the low 2 has probably one of the best lineouts I've experienced from a digital audio player. A lot of digital audio players and lineouts don't sound very clean, or they sound colored for some reason. The low 2 sounds very neutral and clean for the lineouts. So it's one of my favorite lineouts. All right, boot up the amp. All right, check out the same songs. Okay, so the Hifiman Mini Shangri-Las, yeah, these are pretty nice electrostatic headphones. I mean, for the price, right? These are considered to be like entry-level electrostatics, because in general, electrostatic headphones, they cost a lot of money, right? So yeah, this is relatively inexpensive for an electrostatic headphone, and I think it's pretty good for the price, you know. And this is paired with kind of an entry-level Energizer amp, which is the Wu Audio WA7E. And just speaking from this combination, right, obviously this will sound different with different amps and energizers, but just from this combination here with the WA7E, yeah, I think that the thing about electrostatics that's hard to describe, actually, the best way I'll describe it is that the sound just sounds kind of smoother, like the texture just sounds a bit smoother and more velvety. Like the timbre and the tonality just sounds different from regular headphones or even planar magnetics. I don't know a better way to describe it. It's just that you guys have to hear electrostatics to know what I'm talking about. Everything just feels a little bit more silky and smoother. So just the texture of the sound is different. In terms of absolute technicalities, I would say that the HE1000 Unveiled still beats it. So I said this in my review of the HE1000 Unveiled as well, but the HE1000, the staging is stretched wider and you can hear more detail and higher resolution. It's more resolving as well, right? Whereas with the Mini Shangri-Las, at least paired with this amp, doesn't sound quite as resolving or as detailed as the HE1000 Unveiled, but I would say there's still like a very cool, I still like it, you know, because of this electrostatic tonality, right? Just because that smooth, velvety, silky type of texture that you don't get with other headphones. And actually, I could say the staging is pretty good on this too. So the detail and the staging, I would say, comes close to the HE1000 Unveiled. It's not like up to that level, but I would say maybe like 70% of the way there. And you do get that electrostatic type of texture with it. The staging feels like it's more like this 360-degree kind of spherical soundstage, whereas the HE1000 Unveiled just feels very, very wide. So I guess that's how I can describe it. I think maybe, you know, this actually might have even a little bit more depth to it in terms of the staging and the imaging. But yeah, overall, I would say this is the more comfortable because this is just so light. It's not that, yeah, it's not like the headband is better. It's not really a good headband. It's actually the same headband used on their cheaper XS, the Edition XS, actually. So this is kind of a cheap headband, and in general, it feels cheap. This is actually plastic. So it just feels like it's cheaply built, but very, very comfortable. Yeah, because this thing weighs, like, it feels like it weighs almost nothing. Yeah, it's very, very comfortable and light. So that's what I like about it. Very light, very comfortable to wear. It definitely feels cheap though. Compared to the HE1000 Unveiled, yeah, this one is definitely can feel like that's nice aluminum there. But yeah, overall, I think I still like this, even though the technicalities are not quite as good as the HE1000 Unveiled. Sure, it's not as detailed and staging isn't quite as wide. It doesn't have as much bass, of course, because it's an electrostatic. Electrostatics generally don't have as much bass, and you definitely can feel this one's a bit bass lean. I like the mids on this, actually. I feel like electrostatic mids, especially like the ones that are trying to be more like the Stax type of sound, the mids are a bit forward on it, actually, which is nice. And the treble is also pushed up as well, which is what people sometimes complain about electrostatics being a little bit too harsh or fatiguing in terms of the treble. But for me, it's okay. You know, I don't feel like the treble is too harsh or fatiguing for me. And I'm treble sensitive usually. And I think the treble here is fine. And I'm even okay with that lean bass. You know, of course it doesn't have as much bass as the HE1000 Unveiled, but you know, fine. I can accept that actually. I think for me, out of, you know, if you're asking me about the frequencies which matter to me the most, I prefer mids first of all. You got to have good mids, and then treble, and then bass last, actually. So I'm actually okay with having lean bass on this because it's not like it's bad quality or anything. This bass is actually quite good quality. It's just a little bit lean, which you can fix with EQ anyways if you want to EQ them. But for me, it's fine. And then treble is very nice and detailed and airy sounding, and mids are really nice too. It's very, it's got forward mids, kind of smooth, textured, and yeah, it's got that electrostatic type of sound to it. So I do still like these, you know, a lot. So even though HE1000 Unveiled will beat it in terms of, you know, absolutely technicalities, staging, and details, and it has better bass and more of a fun sound, I would say, more dynamic sound. But I still like the electrostatics. Just that, you know, that specific texture of smoothness, and just something that you can't experience with other types of headphones. So, anyways, yeah, the Hifiman Mini Shangri-La, I still like them. You know, just that electrostatic texture is hard to beat. Okay. Now I'm going to try the ribbon headphones. So this is going to be interesting. So I'm going to use the same source here, same cable. Going unbalanced in, or single-ended rather. Okay. All right. Yeah, this should be interesting to compare. So how do I wear these? So I think I wear them like this. So they just kind of sit right on top like this. Now these are definitely not the most comfortable to wear. Yeah. In terms of comfort, this is clearly the least comfortable to wear compared to these three. I'm not going to say it's absolutely uncomfortable. Like some Grado headphones I've had or Audize headphones I've had, those are just, you know, very, very uncomfortable because actually it's like squeezing against your ears or your head. But this one's not like that. It's not like very uncomfortable to wear, but it's definitely less comfortable in these two because it's like you have no ear cups. That's part of the design. There's no ear cups. So your ears is just kind of lightly pressing against the grills here. So it feels like I'm wearing two cheese graters. Yeah, it feels like you have two cheese graters pressed against your ears, which is yeah, a little bit unsettling, but yeah. Oh well. I'm gonna say the level of comfort here is okay. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not very comfortable either. I would much rather be like, yeah, having one of these on my head, or even better would be Dan Clark headphones or Bayer Dynamics, because those are really comfortable. So anyways, play some music here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, these are pretty nice headphones. In terms of sound, it is quite unique, as you would expect from something using ribbon drivers, right? This is the first time I tried ribbon drivers. The best way I can describe it is like it's not really like listening to a headphone. It's more like listening to speakers, right? Like just kind of near field speakers, because that's what it does sound like. Like the tonality in the timbre and everything is just very natural feeling. So I think that's the main sense I get from these headphones, that these sound very natural. And I know that's kind of a vague term to use, but I don't know a better way to describe it. It's just when I listen to the HE1000 Unveiled, okay, this is that planar magnetic sound where I can hear like, yo, okay, this is fun, dynamic sounding, very detailed. The Hifiman Mini Shangri-La's got that electrostatic, kind of smooth, velvety texture to it. These ones just feel like, it just feels like listening to like speakers. Yeah, just like speakers that are in front of you, like kind of like small bookshelf speakers, I guess. But the tonality is very natural. It's like very balanced sounding. Nothing feels like it's too you know, too recessed or too pushed up or anything. I find it hard to describe the sound signature because it doesn't sound like a typical headphone. Like normally I would describe, you know, the tunings of the headphone and everything, like it has a, you know, V-shaped or W-shaped or Harman tuning, whatever. It's hard to describe this. It's more like I'm listening to speakers, right? So I know like speakers can have different tunings as well, but it just feels like it has that smooth cohesiveness, I would say, this natural coherency and cohesiveness of speakers. So it's hard to describe the actual tonality of it. All I can say is that it sounds very natural and balanced. So it doesn't feel like you're, yeah, it doesn't feel like anything is too much or too little. It just feels like this is the right amount of bass, this is the right amount of mids, this is the right amount of treble. It just doesn't feel like anything's unnatural. So yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. The tonality is very natural on these, and the soundstage is very airy, as you would expect, because these don't have any ear cups. So this is probably as open back as you can get. These are open back, these are open back, but these are as open back as you can get. They leak sound like no tomorrow because there is no ear cups. And you won't get any sound isolation with these either because there's no ear cups. So in terms of having that kind of airy feel, like you guys know, like open air headphones, right? Open ear headphones like this. Generally, people like audiophiles like them better because they give you a natural sense of staging and everything, and things just feel more airy. Well, this is about as open as airy as it gets. It just feels like, yeah, like the voices are just coming, and the imaging and everything are top notch. The best imaging and soundstage I've experienced from a headphone, because yeah, it doesn't even feel like you're wearing really headphones. It just feels like the sound and voices just come around you as if they're actually, as if the singers and stuff are actually around you. So that's really cool about these. In terms of absolute resolution or like absolute detail resolution, I wouldn't say necessarily that this is better than the HE1000 Unveiled. I think the HE1000 Unveiled, just looking at, hey, this is how much detail you can get out of it, I think these still win. But the RAALs, I think with that natural sense of tonality and that really, I guess, airy imaging, I would say, this airy staging, yeah, this is just kind of something that's unique, and I don't know a better way to describe it, man. The best way I can describe it is just it sounds incredibly natural, and yeah, it really needs to be like heard, basically. Hard to describe without hearing it. Now these are definitely a little bit uncomfortable because the grills are sitting directly on your ears, doesn't have any ear pads. You do have like these little like felt liners here that do help, but I'm not gonna say it's gonna sound as, I mean, it's not as comfortable as these ones, for sure. But it's a really unique sound, The thing to note is I don't think that this is necessarily better than these, or that these are necessarily better than this. I don't think actually any of these are necessarily better than each other. They're just different types of sound. If you're looking for absolutely the last word in resolution and detail, I think the HE1000 Unveiled, that's what it is. If you're looking for the most fun, dynamic sounding headphones with the best bass, I think the HE1000 Unveiled win out of these. Like, these two are kind of bass light, right? They're not pushing up the bass, because this is just like, it's just natural sounding. You don't feel like the bass is pushed up at all, and electrostats don't have much bass. Yeah, HE1000 Unveiled has the best bass out of these. In terms of the mids, I would say I like electrostatic mids. These are very nice, velvety, smooth kind of mids, and then these are very natural sounding mids. So I would say Unveiled has good mids as well, but personally I prefer one of these two in terms of the mids. This one more natural sounding and airy sounding, this one more silky sounding and smooth sounding. In terms of treble, I think this is, again, it's hard to describe with this anything else than just saying natural sounding. I know, but I don't know any other way to describe that one. This has electrostatic treble, right, which is kind of forward. Some people say it's too bright, too harsh, but I think it's fine. And then treble, and this is very detailed. So I think it's kind of a wash with that one. They're all good in terms of treble. In terms of soundstage and imaging, it's got to go to the RAALs. Like, these ones just sound, yeah, like as if you're not even listening to headphones. It just sounds like you're listening to speakers. And you know how when you place speakers in a room and then like you get that stereo separation and everything, like I'm gonna say in general, you have speakers right in front of you, it's gonna sound like you have a wider soundstage than headphones. Because headphones, at the end of the day, these ones have ear cups, and it feels like it's kind of inside your head, right? But when you have speakers, because you have the room ambience and everything around you, it feels like it has a larger soundstage and imaging compared to headphones. Well, this thing is closer to speakers in that aspect. It feels like it doesn't feel like it's coming from around your head like with headphones. It feels like it's coming from more around you, like in a small room type of sense. So it does feel like more like speakers than headphones. So I would say the soundstage and imaging definitely goes to the RAALs. Like, it just sounds different than other headphones, and the sense of that kind of 360-degree enveloping soundstage, you can definitely get that here. So yeah, really amazing when it comes to that. Overall, again, I think these are all different headphones. So the thing is, I can't say which one is best because they're all different in terms of the tonality, in terms of what they offer, right? So basically, I would say this. If you guys are looking for a very realistic and natural type of sound, and it doesn't feel like you're wearing headphones at all, especially if you care about the soundstage and imaging, everything sounds very natural as if you're listening to a pair of speakers, then that's what the RAAL SR-1A is like. If you guys are looking for that smooth, silky texture, that's what the electrostatics come in. And if you guys are just looking for, it sounds, just kind of like other headphones, but just a very detailed version of your typical headphone with, good bass and a lot of fun, dynamic and energetic type of sound, then that's what the HE1000 Unveiled are for. So in terms of what people would perceive to be, kind of normal sounding headphones, I think planar magnetics come close to that, because You can listen to dynamic headphones and planar magnetics, and there won't be too much of a difference in texture. But when you come to these guys are pretty different from your typical headphone in terms of the tonality and texture. So it really just depends on what you guys are looking for, right? You have to keep in mind, though, that these two need their separate amplifiers as well. So yeah, this needs a specialized amplifier, I guess, to drive it. Needs a lot of power. This is a Jotunheim A, by the way. I'm wrong when it comes to the R. It's actually the A. And then the WA7E, like you just find a electrostatic energizer or amplifier because it needs their own. So that's the thing. It's like with these guys, you really got to match up with the equipment as well. So it can be a bit annoying and finicky, and then you got to actually listen in your desk, right? You got to put this on a table or a desk and start listening there. So it's definitely more of a serious listening experience, I would say. Whereas the HE1000 Unveiled, yes, you can use it with a desktop amp, and by all means, using it with a desktop amp is preferable because this thing, as you know, you have more power, it scales up better, right? So I'm using my DAP to drive it, but it's not ideal. Of course, if you have a desktop amp, it's going to drive it even better and sounds even better. But at least with this one, you can also use it on your bed or something like that, or on a couch. Something with this is harder because you need to have that desktop amplifier set up, right? Whereas HE1000 Unveiled, yes, you can drive it with a digital audio player. Not ideal, but you could. With these guys, you can't. There's no way you can drive it with a digital audio player. You got to use a specialized amp. So in terms of convenience, yes, the HE1000 Unveiled is best for that too. So really, you know, depends what you guys are looking for. Are you guys looking for, this is just, if you guys are okay with, you know, just sounding like regular headphones, if you like the texture of just planar magnetics or dynamic headphones, they don't sound all too different from each other in terms of texture. So you guys are used to the regular headphone sound, but you just want to have, you know, the best detail and imaging and soundstage that you can get, very, very top tier, very Summit-fi, then HE1000 Unveiled is the way to go. But if you guys are willing to try a different type of texture or tonality, then that's when you go for electrostatics and ribbon, because they just sound different from your typical headphones. Smooth, very now, silky texture is the best way I can use to describe it, especially for the mids. I still like electrostatic mids, to be honest. It's still really nice. And then these are actually really the most comfortable too because of the lightness of it. And then yeah, these ones look weird and they're definitely not the most comfortable, but they have a very unique type of sound. So unique design and unique sound to it. It just sounds very natural, like you're listening to a pair of near field speakers that are very close to your ears. So yeah, just a different type of sound. Yeah, basically if you're looking for like the most holographic 3D type of sound coming from around you, then I think this is the best bet here. I know people throw those terms around a lot, you know, 3D, holographic imaging and staging, realistic, you know, but all those terms actually do apply to this one, you know. However, you know, people want to say that about planar magnetics or dynamic drivers, you know, they might say, oh, it sounds so holographic and 3D or whatever. This one actually is probably the most closest to those terms. Yeah, it's realistic, it's natural, it's 3D, it's holographic. Yeah, it doesn't sound like headphones. It sounds like speakers that are kind of like close to your ears. That's really what it sounds like, a very, yeah, speaker-like sound. I think that's why they call them ear field speakers or monitors or whatever. So yeah, they have their special, you know, term for it. Yeah, I would say that this one is definitely very unique and it gives you a very out-of-head experience, whereas typical headphones give you more like, it sounds like the sounds in your head. This one sounds like it's outside of your head. So it's a pretty unique experience, I would say. It's expensive, yes, but I mean, there's no other company really making something like this, you know, so it's they're charging a lot because they can charge a lot. There's not much competition. It's not like planar magnetics. Yes, HE1000 Unveiled is definitely top in class for planar magnetics, but it's not like they don't have competition, right? Audize makes planar magnetics, Meze makes planar magnetics, Final Audio makes planar magnetics, right? The D8000 Pros. So Hifiman definitely does have competition there, which is also part of the reason why you can find really nice planar magnetics for the cost, because they have a lot of competition. Electrostatics, of course, you got to compete with Stax. Stax is the elephant in the room when it comes to electrostatics. So yeah, of course they have competition as well from Stax, but Rails, they don't have any competition. Who else is making ribbon drivers, right, for headphones? They they don't really have any competition. So it's like, yes, they're expensive, but there's no other competition for them. And if you want to have this kind of experience, you have to go for them. So yeah, and I believe these are probably actually their cheapest models, because like I said, their flagship Imanis costs over $10,000. So that's, something I would like to experience at one point. That's something like that's way out of my budget. It's like the Hifiman Shangri-Las. Yeah, Shangri-Las, which are like $50,000. The Sennheiser HE1s, that's like $50,000, $60,000. That's something I'll never get to experience probably. Same with the Imanis, over $10,000. But at least I can kind of get a taste of it, right, with the SR-1As. And I know they have newer versions. This is their first revision, I believe. That they have newer versions of their SR1, and this is the A version, which I think is their first revision. But they have later revisions. I haven't tried those either, but for me, I can't afford the full price. So this is just what I could find on HeadFi that was available to me. But yeah, it's a really unique experience, and definitely if you guys are looking for something very natural sounding and yeah, like that 3D surround type of experience and realism, yeah, there's nothing else quite like this one. So anyways, it's a very unique experience, I would say. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, which one you guys would prefer, and I will have a sound comparison test coming up. I'll be using the same microphone, the same track and everything, and I know it's just, it's going to be on YouTube and stuff, and it's going to be compressed, and it's not exactly going to be the same as if you're actually hearing them, but that's the best I can do right now to show you guys kind of the sound of each. So another unique feature of these headphones is that they can open up like this. Yeah, and why you might want to do that is that apparently when you open them up, you can increase the soundstage, but it decreases the bass. And if you close them back up, it'll increase the bass and kind of decrease the soundstage, which is interesting. But personally, I feel like if you were to ask me, the tuning of this, I already said it's like natural sounding. It doesn't really sound like a typical headphone. It sounds more like speakers, right? If I were to describe it, I would say, okay, it's a neutral, balanced type of tuning. Like I said, nothing feels like it's too pushed up. Nothing feels like it's too recessed. So it just feels very natural to me and very balanced. But I think the strength of this in terms of what you can get from it is, yeah, soundstage and imaging, obviously, but also very nice mids, like very nice detailed mids and treble as well. The bass is something where I'm like, this is not for bass heads. Like these headphones and electrostatics both are not strong at bass. So the bass level here is just kind of a neutral level of bass. It's not pushed up or anything. So I think, yeah, if you're looking for like thumping bass or very slammy bass, that's not this. It does not compare to dynamic driver headphones or planar magnetic headphones even. The HE1000 Unveiled, that one has definitely, noticeably more bass and better bass probably. So especially the sub bass, right? It doesn't have too much sub bass. So that's just the thing, like with smaller speakers in general, it's like this as well. So that's why I say this thing kind of behaves like a speaker, right? If you have like a bookshelf speaker, you're not gonna get much sub bass either. That's something that generally comes from larger speakers and stuff, but it's not really what ribbons are good at. So ribbons and electrostatics generally don't have too much bass, but they excel in the mids and the highs. So that's where I say this one excels in as well. Personally, I would not try to open them up too much because, like, look, I'm wearing them like this, right? It's already kind of weird when I wear them because it's not like a typical headphone, but imagine opening them up like this. It's kind of odd, right? It's kind of silly looking. But plus, it's the fact that it doesn't have like too much bass to even begin with. It's got like neutral level bass, so if you want to decrease the bass even further, yeah, I know you get like supposedly increased soundstage, but it already has really good soundstage and imaging even in this closed position. So anyways, that's just me. I think I would probably just leave them closed. I don't need to have the bass lowered even more, and it already has good soundstage in like this anyways. So yeah, that's another unique feature of this headphone. My TLDR for these headphones is this: if you're okay with a headphone that's not too comfortable to wear, I'm not going to say it's super uncomfortable or anything. It's not like terrible, but definitely not the most comfortable because you do have the grills pressing up against your ears and stuff. If you're okay with having a headphone that looks like it's got like this sci-fi industrial type design to it, It's a love it or hate it type of design, I know. And if you're okay with having a dedicated amp that's needed to drive it, like that's just, you know, part of the design of this thing, right? You can't just drive it with a digital audio player. You pretty much have to use this at home. And if you're okay with something that doesn't have too much bass, like this just has like a neutral amount of bass, and just overall frequencies just sound overall pretty neutral and balanced, I would say. If you guys are looking for good bass, like nice punchy, slammy, rumbly bass, especially in the sub-bass region, dynamic driver headphones are pretty much the best way to go for that. I mean, planar magnetics, some of them like the HE1000 Unveiled have pretty good, decent bass as well, very solid, but overall, just generally speaking, that's what dynamic driver headphones are good at, is that kind of bass response. This is like for people I would recommend if you're looking for something that has that 3D, holographic, realistic type of soundstage, something that sounds very natural, like I've said many times. Sounds like you have studio monitors, really, kind of like just close up against your ears, has that, yeah, studio monitor, speaker type of presentation to everything. Then yeah, definitely give these a try. They're very unique. Definitely not for everyone, but very unique. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. After this, we'll have a sound comparison test comparing all three of these, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys think, and also have a discussion with my friend as well, who likes to insert his opinion in on many things, but special audio stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Psychic spies from China try to steal your mind's elation. And little girls from Sweden dream of silver screen quotation. And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life.
Yeah, it has a really natural like speaker-like sound, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Of course, speakers themselves also obviously sound different from each other as well. So this
Yeah.
does have a speaker-like
But it
sound.
sounds different than our headphones, basically.
A bit, yeah, a bit. Oh, here's the controller. I would say like it's a really good headphone set.
Yeah.
But like say compared to like the Unveiled, they sound just honestly they sound really different from each other.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, I would probably keep the Unveiled personally. I think it's a bit more versatile because there's a bit more bass with the Unveiled.
Oh yeah, it does have more bass.
Yeah, and then it's got like a, and the thing is
But
like
the sound is just different. It's hard to compare.
it's different. The
Yeah.
RAAL, the treble is really nice and it's really lifelike. Actually, I find the voice quite lifelike too, but the voice is
Yeah.
also, although the voice is lifelike though, but it also sounds a bit more thinner compared to the Unveiled, of course.
Yeah.
It's more a thinner sound. Depends if you like that or not.
It's just it's a different sound. Like it's very natural sounding, which I find it's kind of unique. I haven't seen other headphones that sound like that. It's just
Yeah.
got this unique natural tonality to it.
Yeah, I find the RAAL sounds kind of like a better version of the HE1000 V2s that we had. It was sounding like that type of tonality.
Which is kind of neutral-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the same tonality, except I think the mids are a little bit better on the RAALs because the mids are a bit more forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't detect like any kind of a naturalness about it. So like it's hard for me to describe like, oh, nothing's really pushed up or recessed. It just sounds very natural. So,
It's very balanced.
Yeah.
In terms of natural and naturalness, it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to say because it does sound very lifelike,
Yeah.
but for some reason the voice sometimes, although it sounds lifelike and does sound natural, but
Yeah.
it also sounds a bit grainy sometimes. Which I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the resolution, so I can hear the grain. But besides that, though, it's really nice. I mean, like I said, I think it sounds kind of like our V2s, but just with a more prominent mid. And the mid is a bit more forward, but it's the same type of mid, but the mid's
I
more
see.
forward. So yeah, and then the Unveiled is just like a bit more bass, a bit more warmer sound, which I really like as well. And if I had to choose, I would choose the Unveiled because I think it's a bit more bass and also
the bass
way
is-
more versatile. Way more comfortable, way more versatile.
yeah, you don't need like a special amp.
Exactly.
To
Easier to drive. I can just run it off of anything. Yeah, it's the easiest
Yeah.
one to drive too. It's easier to drive than all the other headphones that
Yep.
have the big ones. So yeah. So
yeah, definitely.
But definitely this is cool. I mean.
It's definitely unique.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Do you have the?
Everything is
cable
all
for
the
this?
extra cables. I put it into the RAAL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So make sure you don't give away like the cable for the amp. Yeah. That and also the Make sure you
Okay,
don't,
I got it.
both of those cables are there. So there's
Yep.
the splitter, right? The analog to the 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't give those away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is this one is like it's I think having this amp is okay because I have electrostatic is fine, but it's just more the comfort issue.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one issue with it, and I don't know.
And the lack of versatility, honestly, it really is just not versatile. You know, like I
Yeah.
can't use it in a lot of other setups. It's just only for this, and I just gotta
Yeah.
sit there and just use it, and
Yeah.
it's not comfortable. That's
Well, you can attach like a streamer or something to it, if you want to play music, but
sort of, but like
but
say
but you do have to use it on desk. so,
exactly like with this, I can play in every setup pretty much. I can play this on my amp,
Mhm.
like my home theater receiver if I'm watching movies.
Yeah.
I can just plug into my home theater receiver and it's easy to drive.
Mm.
I can plug it into any of my dongles if I want to play from the Switch.
Yeah.
I want to use it works for anything. Yeah, I can use it for my computer, my laptop, all that stuff.
Yeah, and this definitely has the best bass out of the three.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
because the electrostat's on bass, and then the valves, yeah.
And I wouldn't even say the sound is just better than that. They're just different. Like that sound's actually very good too.
Yeah, I don't know which one's better. It's
Yeah.
just different.
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah, but definitely the bass. I think I like this one more.
Yeah, this one definitely has more bass.
Exactly, and it's more versatile and it's more comfortable. So yeah, so I would take that. This does sound cool though. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
sound,
yeah,
it
it's
is a good sound. Yeah, but just that lack of versatility.
Yeah,
lack
the
of
sound
comfort.
stage is you think it's quite open on these.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so but it's because it has to be because it's very treble emphasized. Whenever you're treble emphasized, normally it sounds more open
Yeah,
anyways.
but that's the design how it's supposed to be. Like it's no like ear pads or anything, so nothing blocking you.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to have a very open sound stage.
It's got a
Very
very
airy.
good split.
It's supposed to be
between
very airy, yeah.
the treble, the mids, and
Yeah.
the bass are actually very separated really quite well.
Mm.
And then but then the other thing is because this way where it's just like two things on the side.
Yeah.
Literally, it doesn't isolate any outside noise. Literally. And then so like when I'm at home, and my parents are like watching their own stuff.
Yeah.
It's all interrupting what I'm listening to, and honestly, it kind of gets
Well, this
distracting.
is as open as you can get
Exactly.
when it comes to headphones. Yeah.
But in a way, it actually
Yeah.
affects the sound quality too,
Mm.
because I end up not hearing like some of the minute details because my parents are playing something over there too, or they're
Yeah,
arguing.
yeah.
or
You need
something.
like a very quiet listening environment for
Exactly.
this. Yeah,
And this one, even though it's open, but it still has better isolation than that.
Yeah.
And then once I listen to music, I really can't hear anything else on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's by design. You know, that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
pros
but,
and cons of that.
But for using it is just
Yeah.
it is an issue. So yeah, plus it's so uncomfortable, and you gotta make sure your head doesn't like move too
Yeah,
much.
it
one
is
way.
definitely like more finicky about stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So, but it's cool. It's cool to try.
yeah, yeah.